Okay, sorry about that. My dog knows he's not allowed up here. Okay, so do you know where your eyelid is? Yes, this right here is your eyelid. Well, that one was mine. But when you touch yours, that's your eyelid, right? Snakes don't have eyelids. Did you know that? So, have you ever played the staring contest where you stare at your brother or your sister or your mom and dad? You can't smile. No blinking. If you blink or you smile, you lose, right? Well, don't play that game with a snake, 'cause you'll lose. They don't blink. Have you ever thought of that? And then, also, snakes shed their skin several times a year because they're growing and they have to shed to get longer. Well, that over their eye, they do have protection. It's called a spectacle, kind of like these. I wear glasses. They're not exactly spectacles, but when they shed, their spectacle sheds too, and they grow a new one. Isn't that interesting? I'm glad we don't have to shed skin. If you've ever seen snake skin, usually it's by a rock or a tree because they rub up against it, trying to peel it off. It takes about a week, or days. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so another thing, what do you do when you have a nice piece of chicken? You bite into it and chew it. Snakes don't bite. They can't. So they have to swallow their food whole. And as it goes down, their stomach churns it all up and eats it all up. Kind of does the chewing for them. That kind of takes the fun out of it, huh? So, also, you have ears. Snakes, they don't have ears on the outside of their body. They do have inner ears. So they're kind of deaf to most of the sounds outside around them. Their ears that are on the inside help them to have their balance. Wouldn't it be funny to see a snake rolling over because they couldn't keep their balance? But that's what their inner ears are for. So I thought that was interesting. Didn't know that. Okay. Every continent, all the places on the earth with land, have snakes except the Antarctica. Antarctica's too cold, but you know what I was thinking? And I'm sorry I didn't look this up. Maybe you can find out and tell me. Places like the South Pole and the North Pole, Norway and Russia, the Yukon, all those places the tundra, places that are so cold, they have snakes there? How do they live? Because it's really important for them to be warm. So, I might need to look that one up. Okay, snakes are covered on their skin. What did we say makes a reptile? Scaly skin. Scales all over. They're kind of layered on top of each other, and they're very sensitive. And their scales are the same thing as your fingernails and what your hair is made out of. Isn't that neat? Okay. What about smelling? Can snakes smell? How do they smell? Have you ever seen pictures of snake and their tongues going like just sticking out in the air and flapping? That's how they smell. Yes. Isn't that funny? They smell with their tongue. I'm glad we don't smell with our tongue, because we would look pretty silly walking around flapping our tongue, wouldn't we? But that's how snakes smell, with their tongue. They take in the particles in the air and pull their tongue in, and just like us, we send messages to our brain, lets us know what's going on. That's what they do. Okay. I wanted to tell you the difference between a poisonous snake and a venomous snake. There is a difference. Actually, poison is something that we eat and we take it into our body. There are a couple of snakes that are poisonous if they are ingested. A lot of times it's because they eat poisonous frogs, and so the poison of the frog is in them. It doesn't hurt the snake, But if somebody ate the snake, then the snake would be poisonous to them. That's not the same thing as a venomous snake. A venomous snake is a snake whose teeth can inject poison into your bloodstream when it bites you. That is bad. Very, very dangerous. So that's the difference between a snake being poisonous or a venomous snake. Sometimes people will say, oh, that snake's poisonous. But really what they mean is it's venomous. So snakes that are really big and like to squeeze their prey together, come on, Tati, they are called constrictors. What they do is, here's my little kitty cat, Tati. She's a little pretty kitty cat. But pythons and stuff, they wrap around their prey and they squeeze and squeeze, and she doesn't like that. She's like, hey, you're a snake. They squeeze and squeeze until their prey, the animal they want to eat, say a snake is wrapped around a rabbit, it squeezes it till that poor little rabbit can't breathe anymore and he just dies. And then the snake will eat it. I know it's sad, but animals have to eat, and that's how God made them to do. So when they squeeze the animal they want to eat, that is called constricting. Say constricting. Yes, good. Okay. The largest snake that's not venomous is the anaconda. They can be 16 feet long. I don't know how many school buses that would be, but I'd say about 3 or so. I don't know. That's a lot of snake. Maybe 2 buses. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Oh, this is cool. Did you know there are snakes that live in the ocean? Yes, they're called sea snakes. And I don't know a lot about them. In Australia, there's 32 different kinds. In Australia, there's also 140 different land snakes. That's just in Australia. In Australia, they have the top 10 poisonous snakes there. Australia sounds like a beautiful place, but dangerous. There is 3,000 different kinds of snakes all over the world. And let me just say, I didn't mean that negative about Australia. I would love to visit Australia. It looks like a beautiful place, and I have friends there, and they're great people. But they do have a lot of variety of dangerous animals and snakes. So, the largest living python is called the reticulated python. And guess what? Oh, it's 7 meters long. I didn't look that up, how many feet that is. But it's big. And it has been known to eat a bear. Remember earlier I said sometimes bears? Well, that is an example of one that has eaten a bear. It's crazy to think about. Okay, I'm going to tell you something else. Snakes, okay, I told you all that. Some people say they hibernate. You know how bears go in a cave when it gets winter? They eat, get big and fat, and then go sleep in their cave all winter, and it's called what? What is it called? Yes, hibernating. Good. Well, snakes, some people say, hibernate. But really and truly, they don't. Shh. You can politely correct people if they say that. What they do is called, the process is called brumation. That's what word I'm looking for. They don't hibernate. They go into brumation. That's where their body slows down. Their heart rate and everything goes a lot slower because it's cold and snakes need to be warm. Snakes are ectotherms. They're cold-blooded. They can't, your body, when you get really cold, what do? You shiver and your teeth chatter and you get goosebumps because your body is working itself to get you warm and protect your insides, to keep them warm so you don't get sick. And when you're hot and you're outside playing basketball, and I know you, Cole, you like to ride bike and jump and climb, and you start sweating and you're hot and your hair's wet because you sweated so much. That's your body trying to cool off. Your body does it itself. It knows how to do that. Snakes don't do that. Snakes have to have something outside that helps them be cool or warm. So, their mamas can't go to the store and buy a coat for a snake. Do you have a coat? Nope. So, they don't live in the air conditioner either. So, snakes have to slow down, and they lay in a place very still for long periods of time. They can go longer without eating. So, they still come out in winter if the sun's out, and they have to have the sun to help them stay warm. And if they get too hot, they have to go in the shade. Did you know an alligator is a reptile? He has to do the same thing. So they have that in common. That's why they're in the same group. So that's what snakes do, to stay warm and to stay cool. Now a snake, there has been a snake that has been known to go for 2 years and not eat food. That is crazy. And this particular snake could digest its own heart. Now, I just took that from a website, so I didn't look up what snake it was and how does he live if he digests his heart. I mean, I think you need your heart to live. So, anyway, snakes don't like to live in groups most of the time. There are some that sometime, I forgot what it's called, starts with a H. If you can find that word, look it up. But they live in groups for a period of time, and then they go off on their own. They're solitary animals. Solitary means alone, one. Have you ever played the card game Solitary or Solitaire? That's because you play by yourself, one person. So that's what that means. Snakes are not territorial either. You know, some animals, hey, this is my block, stay away. Not snakes. They just go wherever they want. I thought it was interesting. There's a squirrel in California, and a rattlesnake, his venom doesn't hurt the squirrel. He's immune to it. So if it bites him, he don't die. So when he sees one of those snakes, he just flaps his tail real fast. The squirrel does, and lets the rattlesnake know, I know you're here, and I'm not afraid. But let me tell you, if you are ever around a snake, you need to be concerned. You need to not go near that snake. Do not go near a snake. Even if you think you know it's not poisonous, because you may not. There are some snakes that look like other snakes. One could be poison or venomous, and the other not venomous. So you need to go get your mom. Don't run. Stop if you see a snake. Because you know why? Snakes don't see very well. They can't see color. And because they can't see, they go after what moves. So if you stop and be very, very still, and then slowly back up away from the snake, make sure you don't fall. And then when you get a good enough distance, you can run and go get your mom. Okay. But don't ever try to pick up a snake. I don't care how many pictures you've seen of a snake. You never know for sure. And you have to be certain. So, you don't want to get bit by a snake. Trust me. So, is there anything a snake is scared of? Snakes can be scared. They are scared of raccoons. They're scared of foxes, coyotes, wild boars, mongooses, coyotes, and other snakes like the king snake. The king snake eats other snakes. So, yes, snakes are scared of some things. And guess what? If a snake is eating and he swallows that whole animal, remember, he sits there. He has to stay there for a while so his body can work to digest it so he won't move as much. Remember, he's got to use his energy to digest that food. So, if something happens and that snake gets scared, guess what? He's going to throw up his food so he can get away, if he's scared or if he's stressed. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know. So let's see. Okay, I thought this was interesting. I did not know this about snakes. There are some snakes like garter snakes. Remember I told you snakes have to be warm. That's where they get their energy. If they don't have energy, they can't catch their food or eat their food. So they have to have energy. And remember, they're ectotherms. That means they rely on other things to keep them warm, especially the sun. So they need that to eat. So there are garter snakes that if they need to be warm, the male snake, the boy snake, can act like a girl and put off the girl smell, and a boy snake can smell it, and he'll come and curl up with that snake. So that boy snake tricked the snake to curl up with him, because when they're together, it makes heat. So I thought that was funny that they'll do that. And how does the snake not tell? I don't know. I think God made so many wonderful things in creation, and how things work, and animals, and how their defense systems work, and how they are able to take care of themselves and stuff. So I wanted to tell you, let's see, couple more things. Another thing snakes do not like is the smell of cinnamon, cloves, ammonia, vinegar, and human hair. When you get a haircut, if there's a place you don't want snakes, put your hair. That's okay. And a sweet story to end. There's a zoo in Tokyo. Oops, I'm sorry. There was two fun stories. There's a snake called the Sonoran coral snake. Okay. He's really pretty. You need to look him up. It's spelled Sonoran, coral. Ask your mom and dad for help. But he looks like he has two heads, one on each end. And if he feels afraid, like something's trying to get him, guess what he does? He lifts up his tail to look like his head. But guess what he does? He toots and makes his prey afraid and runs away. Isn't that hilarious? That's what I mean. God has a sense of humor that he makes a snake toot to scare away his prey. Only God could think of those kinds of things. Okay, the last sweet story I want to tell you is about a snake in a zoo in Tokyo. His name is, let me look. I don't know if I'm going to say this right. It's Auohan, Auhan, something like that. And the people who take care of the snakes at the zoo went to feed him a hamster. Now, they have to feed the animals, snakes, live animals. So they put them in there with them, and then the snake catches them and eats them. So when they put this hamster that they call Gohan in this cage with the snake didn't eat it. Guess what he did? They became best friends, and they live together. He never eats it. That is so sweet, and the little hamster likes him too. I thought that was so sweet. There's amazing stories like that of animals that normally don't like each other or would eat each other that became great buddies. You should look some of those up sometime, and maybe I'll do some stories on some of those. But I hope that you enjoyed this about snakes. Let me see if I forgot anything. I don't think I did. So it's really cool. So why don't you draw a snake and color it? Draw or look up, ask your mom to show you pictures of a bunch of different kinds of snakes. And I want you to draw the one that you think is the prettiest or the one that you like the most. You could also take some noodles, some pen noodles, and color the noodles different colors or to look like a snake, and put a string through it and tie it at the end and put a string through all of them, and then tie it at the other end, maybe to like a ping pong ball that you decorate, or use your creativity and make a snake, and then it can kind of move and wiggle like this one. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.